put your phones on silent, and we would like to remind you that we are a free show and every member of our cast and crew is up here off their own back. So please, if you enjoy any small part in this wonderfully varied cavalcade of comedic monologues, consider leaving a donation in the hats at the end. This show does feature some strong language and mild adult themes. Any complaints, praise or feedback should be noted down and firmly attached to a modest monetary donation to leave in the buckets at the end. If you must leave during the performance, I have heard that £20 notes are particularly quiet, so let's not be selfish. Love! However you have experienced it in your life, you're bound to share many aspects of love with everyone you know. The happiness, joy, familiarity, community, hilarity, and warmth. Just as much as I'm sure you know the pain, sadness, despair, coldness, and feeling of utter loss. Still, we must pick ourselves up and carry on. Today we shall be presenting to you a marvellous myriad of monologues tackling this nebulous theme, featuring everything from drama to apathy, to name but a few delicacies on this lunchtime menu. We're immensely excited you're here to join us on this journey, and we hope to leave you utterly spent with satisfaction. If buses came equipped with seatbelts, we'd advise you fasten them as we delve into the ever-fascinating, eternally frustrating mystery of the heart. We begin with an experience all too familiar to every one of us.
Bruce is always so packed. Top deck is often my best chance of finding some space. I'm always having my leg rubbed against the window by some larger, normal-smelling guy. Or worse, I'm squashed up by some girl who obviously doesn't know how to use her overpriced headphones for her music. And over there, that woman clearly doesn't care that her children are defacing the bus. And that one's pouring his drink on the seat. She is literally watching her children get away with vandalism. I hate parents who take their children on the bus. Why anyone would subject their offspring to these conditions, I have no idea. Oh no. I just made eye contact with that chav at the back. He isn't thinking I chose to look at him. Why would I choose to look at him? He looks so unpleasant. Oh, he's getting up. Oh God. He's getting up. He's coming this way. He can't just kill me here. This is public transport. He can't just kill me. He's going downstairs. This is his stop. Oh, thank God. Well, of course he would live here. Look at this neighbourhood. It's an absolute dump. Hello. It's her. She's getting on the bus. I thought she got on close to town, but... Oh, but of course she would live here! The rose among the thorns, the diamond in the rough. And the only free seat is the one next to me. So rarely does she sit there. So rarely do I get to fill my senses with the scent of her lavender perfumed hair. Don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. She caught me staring. She would think I'd be a freak. She'd never catch this bus again. She looked at me. She looked at me. And she smiled. She smiles at me and recognizes me for doing so. Does she feel the same way about me that I do about her? Oh, lavender. Never change your personal hygiene regime, my brunette beauty. Maybe I should just tell her how beautiful she is. No, that's silly. She probably knows how beautiful she is already. I'll just say hello. Hello. Where are you going? Where are you going? You don't get off now. You get off in town for a skinny latte and a blueberry muffin. Why are you getting off now? Me. I scared her off. Stupid! Why did I say hello? I must follow her. I must follow her out immediately and let her know how I feel. But if I follow her downstairs, then I lose my seat. There are no other seats. Just a spot next to Mr. Baldylocks over there, and that woman at the back with the hairy top lip. Oh, we're pulling away. She's off the bus. I'll never see her again. If only all these damn people weren't here. People ruin everything. You weirdos! Maybe I'll just go sit downstairs.
I'm attached to you, captivated by, crazy about you. I am enamored of you, enchanted by, fascinated with, fond of you. I canonize you. I cherish, I choose you. Deify, delight in, and dote on you. I esteem, exalt. I have fallen for you. I am head over heels for you. I glorify, go for, have affection for you. I have it bad for you. I hold you dear. I hold you high. I idolize you. I like you very much. I long for and have lost my heart to you. Prize, thrive with, treasure, venerate and worship you! But I can't actually say I love you.
Well done to both our starting acts. Very entertaining, dazzling, absorbing, spicy, ludicrous, and piquant. As you may know, we are a part of the Laughing Horse Free Festival, and on the subject of horses, the most romantically inclined of all equine mammals, let's welcome our next pieces.
My mother was a beauty, and my father was a star. And do believe me, because I am serious, my father was, and still is, a horse. They say he was that I can move mountains, head of a hoof glove, which usually ends up with someone killed, but rest assured there were no animals harmed in the making of this monologue. Instead, the early years of their relationship were made up of insane amounts of awkwardness on the parts of, well, just about everyone, really. I mean, it was all, welcome to the neighbourhood. If you come and see, come and have tea sometime. We'll have crumpets and other human things. Join us. Just you. Not your horse husband. But my parents were always cool about it. They were unfazed. My father had to convince his own parents not all humans are horrible creatures that want to work animals to death. That humans are good people, people worth loving, and that it could all work out. And, well, if I don't say so myself, I do believe that I prove them, nay, say us wrong. That does not, however, excuse, well, me. Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be the kid in school who plays a horse in school plays? I hated nativity plays. It's not even a horse in there. I've checked the Bible. Oh, it's okay for the kid who plays a tree, but he isn't a tree! You'll always get people who say, oh, if you've got it, flaunt it. It'll never be good enough for you horse folk. Next thing you know, you'll be taking our jobs, and then where will the economy go? Well, I don't know. We're not the ones crashing it. I've had to go through a lot of shit to be where I am today, standing proudly on my 4 legs. And people say, oh, just do it, it'll be great. What does that even mean? They feign confidence in me, but it's like they're saying that 70% of my body is composed of booty. Can't even tell you how embarrassing a teenage years went. It was all, oh, what are you doing when school ends? Oh, I'm going to get drafted, that's what my father did. Oh, you're going to the army? Well, that's someone great with 4 legs, yeah. Someone of your... It's great for you to do for our country. Actually, my father was a draft horse for a while. Oh! Oh, of course, that makes perfect sense for... of course, how silly it was. Well, he's a salesman now. The change was alright for him. Oh, really? Yes. He's the best salesman the company's had. Turns out the only better slogan than I'm on a horse is I am the horse. Take success out of the equation. But while my parents found love, I do believe they did so at the expense of my chances to do so. At the end of a long night, I eavesdropped on my parents through a crack in the door. My father was sitting majestically on the sofa, sipping a cup of tea, reading a newspaper, monocle perched on his left eye. He's a left-eyed reader. Anyway, my mother was simply braiding and unbraiding his glorious mane, that glorious glossy gold. Mine was never that glossy. She was sniffing and had a tear in her eye, but that might have been hay fever. She said, "He's so sad, Henry. I don't know what we should tell him." And my father said something that has just stuck in my mind for the last few days. He simply put down his newspaper and said, "Tell him there's more fish in the sea."
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Azarius the Great, and I... Goodness, what beautiful women there are in the audience here tonight. Permit me to dazzle you lovely people. Bertie! Oh, well, the rabbit's foot is, of course, immensely lovely. So, it is evident to me that you are all quivering in your seats, asking yourselves, why is Azarius here? Do not allow yourselves to be intimidated, my friends. Although I am immersed in the glory and splendor of magic, do not fear me. I am here today to talk about love. My family wisely knew to nurture the talents of a true genius, and at birthdays and Christmases gifted me with magic sets. Card magic, coin magic, wand magic. Soon these were all mastered by my young expert mind. Never before had such an extraordinary child walked the face of the earth, and as I grew, so too did my repertoire. I successfully gave my caterpillar wings after weeks of patient care. I knew I was a wizard. I never became interested in women until I landed my first job touring with the travelling circus. Magic, which up until then had been my sole mistress, became my tool with which to ensnare these beautiful creatures. The first woman I ever approached was named Yasmin. For all my magnificence, confidence failed me, and I spent hours unable to speak to her. Eventually, my immense handsomeness defeated my sudden shyness, and she approached me first. She asked me how I became a magician. Of course, her ignorance cannot be helped, and I explained to her how the magic coursed through my veins. Being naturally inclined to what has been termed as showing off, I offered to give her a demonstration. I produced a pen and began passing it between my hands before displaying that it had vanished. Reaching towards her, I intended to produce the coin from behind her ear, but, well, my hand slipped, bringing the coin back from the ether, and the coin inexplicably became wedged inside her ear. I was a young man, floundering in the art of love. Of course, there would be some mistakes along the way, you understand. But I bounced back. My attention was soon diverted by Sophie, who worked in my favourite coffee shop. Learning from my mistakes, I approached her first. Sadly, she was the one afflicted with shyness. She declined my offer of a date, but I kept after her in order to show her that she was worthy. As the months passed, she seemed increasingly uncomfortable with my romantic gestures, until one day I discovered that she had left her job. I was devastated by my own curse of virile good looks. It was a low point. But how life favours a wizard. One night, on entering a bar, I spotted her, almost instantly, surrounded by a small gathering of friends. As I weaved my way towards her, she spotted me, and her eyes bulged in wonder. She made some attempts to stand and greet me, but I integrated myself into the group without need for her worry. Her friends, in a state of considerable drunkenness, clamoured to see the powers of which Sophie had apparently spoken. Sweet girl, I complied. Levitation is always a powerful way to impress a lady. I pulled Sophie into the middle of the room, and I spread my hands. Concentration is the key to levitation. I may not have been as concentrated as I should have been. As her feet left the ground, our eyes met so passionately that I started forward for a kiss. I'd like it to be made known that I have levitated far more complex things than a woman before, but, at any rate, it wasn't my best day for levitation. She ended up sprawled on the table of drinks, and I found that I was no longer welcome in that establishment, or her heart. I asked myself, day and night, when will I find true love? When will someone recognize my potential? My world was black, and I spent weeks adrift in the confines of sorrow. Then, there was Lola. Now I know what you were thinking. how can a woman save you from despair, great Azarius? Ladies and gentlemen, I was in love, wholeheartedly and undisputedly. Anything she would have asked, I would have done. What no one ever told me is that sometimes women ask for some ridiculous things. One morning, over a romantic cup of coffee, she asked me if I would perform the famous soaring in half trick with her as my assistant. I complied, and bedazzled by affection, I lost track of the boxes I was shifting in. Is there any greater horror than hearing your lover scream? But the injuries weren't fatal, and I hear she's coming along quite nicely, all things considered. Oh, of course there was some unpleasantness with the emergency services, and my saw was sadly confiscated. I am now experiencing my first taste of the prison system. And although at first I thought I could use my magic to break through the bars and handcuffs, I have no intention to. Oh no. For you see, while at first I panicked and railed against the turns my life has taken me, now I see why I am here. My solicitor. She has the beauty of a meadow in spring and the bubbling personality of a freshly brewed cauldron. With my startlingly handsome good looks and the magical display I am planning, I plan to marry her before the year is out. This lonely wizard has finally found his witch.
All men are pigs. Kenna's not. Oh, he's a bloody sweetheart, that one. Like, t'other day, was walking through the park when some bloke comes up to us. A right pissing, getting leery, thinks there's all that. Looking at my tits. Oh, Kenna's having none of that. So he goes for the fella, like a battle anywhere. Wow, right, proud. He'd do anything for me. You know, we're in pub last night with my pa, a pack of crisps, and he leans into me with his big, dark eyes, and he gives me a proper wet kiss. Oh, disgusting, I know, but I love him. Sorry bastard. So I go for the eyes. Big, dark eyes, like good pie. Just one look and my legs turn to jelly. That's what I first noticed about Mark Kenny. There he were, standing alone. Their shine didn't light the shelter. He couldn't take his eyes off me. So I knew a man. One says he's a dangerous breed, but show him love, beat me treat or two. Big fella's harmless. What a mongo. She's more of a cat person.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to speak about this weighty issue in Parliament today. I know that certain members thought I'd better take my radical ideas elsewhere. As for my good friend, the Mayor of London, who's so shocked that he accosted me in Parliament Square with such intensity, hardly see through his charismatic spittle. But there it is. Each day for love, Mr. Speaker. I feel the need to go back to basics, or at least see if we have the ability to do that. My husband, Mrs. Speaker, ex-husband, as he now mortally calls himself, used to say to me, Cicely, my honey pot, maybe there is no love left in the world. However, my fundamental issue in speaking in the house today is this. That we've gone so suspicious about love that we no longer trust it, or any angle, political, poetical, still critical, stand of notion, or people take on it. Take a friend and constituent of mine, for instance. I shall not name him, as I do not wish to start a press investigation. Since the last time in the bananas. My right-hand friend was accused of being a stalker, pervert, creep, amongst other things, when truthfully all he was guilty of was being head over heels in love with a girl who was not one of his situations. It has been argued that he brought this punishment on himself, being seen following him across London one day and changing 4 buses in the process. Then he came home that evening to find him down on one knee in her bedroom, which was completely filled with no cuddlies or combinations. That immediately brought around a hitherto unseen allergic reaction, and shortly afterwards, an unforeseen legal reaction. But, that being said, if he had stood back and let nature take its course, he would have been condemned as standoffish, weak, a notorious player of the pink hobo, with no manhood, no backbone, and no ability to seize the day. As it stands, he's condemned to be lonely for the foreseeable future. As considered, Mr. Speaker, it seems rather futile of me to bring this issue of love and the suspicion of now house to the House, because no government can ever regulate love. Imagine it, the Love Regulation Act 2013. Children generations down the line will learn about in history lessons. One individual will love the other individual, unless he or she knows him, her, to be of a criminal nature. Spark of revolution that the tolerant, tea-drugged British pride themselves on never having carried out. The love revolution walked towards. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. It's rather remiss of me to miss parliamentary time and going off on tangents. Tangents. My point in speaking to the House today is this: that we've become so suspicious for love for one another that we no longer trust it. Now, if we dismiss love as not to be trusted, does that leave us in a post-love age, my noble friends? And if that be the case, if one cannot love the latter for the latter's own sake, but only for the bonus, the banter, the bitching, the bread, the Baileys, the bananas. Sorry. All the latter might provide, then was my ex-husband right in saying that there's no love left in the world? If that be the case, Mrs. Speaker, my right-hand friend, the Prime Minister, will forgive me. We are friends, Prime Minister. We are. That night in the Savoy, remember? You will forgive me why you will become consensually vacant and I didn't transfer his former sleep. Oh, Deputy Prime Minister, I'm glad one member was moved by my speech, but there's no need to take on so. I'm sure now that I have brought this issue to Parliament that there should be a draft legislation within a year. It's quiet on the front benches. Oh, you missed EastEnders last night. Yes, I see it. A lovely programme. Oh, my speech reminded the House of it. That's good to know, Mr. Speaker. Good to know.
Thank you, performers, for that wonderful selection, ending on a nice, serious political note, which makes it only fitting for our next pieces to start on a somewhat politically incorrect note. And so, hang on. Hello? What? No, I don't have to phone me work. No, I'm in. Why would I know where it is? Okay. What? No. Yeah, I'll pick some up on the way home. I thought your mother was coming over tomorrow night. I'm not raising my voice. I'm just asking. No, look, please, just would you please just listen? Anyway, on to our next performances.
After innumerable failed efforts connecting with women, I found her. A lonely figure, one to whom I thought I could relate. She expressed delight at having her dainty knuckles consumed by my plump lips in a luxurious hand kiss. Most polite of romantic gestures. She would display her affection, lounging in my arms, sleeping all over me, but it stirred very little music in me. I found that she did nothing to rouse my passions. I had none of the pleasure a true gentleman deserved. One day, when my world was particularly black, I was running to catch a bus to attend a social engagement at the manor house of one of my best friends. I was obligated to appear with my wretched girlfriend, who begged me in her sickly way to attend. I had just missed the bus when I tripped and fell flat on my face. I felt myself lifted to my feet by a great, benevolent force, and I turned my eyes to perceive the most endlessly fascinating creature I have ever beheld. This paragon of a man discoursed with me a little while as we waited for the next bus. Before long, he mentioned his love of the musical Singing in the Rain. The clouds that had lain upon my heart began to lift, cast off by the perfect cadence of this extraordinary man. My saviour struck up the Act 1 finale, and I joined in with a voice I had never fully unleashed before. Semi-operatic, beautifully loud! I never wanted the bus to arrive. I was enraptured. However, the bus came and carried me off toward the manor house. It was elaborately bedecked with marble pillars and chandeliers. In the centre of the room stood proudly a painstakingly crafted giant glass sculpture of Venus. All asked where my wretched girlfriend had gone to, but I did not care to answer them, searching around instead for some bars of song to sing. Then she strolled in with a discordant, haggard aspect. I forced her aside into another room. I went along with her advances, as any true gentleman would. But the only music she could produce was but a limp and flat fart on the feelings I had experienced with the man at the bus stop. Soon, my rage overtook me. With a great sweep of my conductor's arms, I catapulted her swiftly onto the mantelpiece, whereupon she lay, drawn out and broken, weeping tears of pain. With my newfound vocal talents, I spelled out every one of her flaws. I was destroying her beautifully. The thoughts of my rendezvous with the man at the bus stop soon made my voice bellow, blasting the air with its terrible power as I ruptured her eardrums. I experienced a personal ecstasy, so wondrous and joyous, that finally, eventually, sumptuously, gorgeously, I reached the climax of my all-consuming song. I left her there as I reveled in the newfound bliss of my melody. I strode out into the main hall. The music drifting over the crowd was, in that fated moment, my favourite song from Singing in the Rain, the eponymous Act 1 finale. I swelled and felt my power rise within me. Operatically to it with all my might. Statues fell from their plinths. The pillars began to crack and crumble. And as my ecstasy reached a height previously unknown to mankind, singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling! The glass from the chandeliers erupted all over the crowd. blinding them, slicing them, penetrating them. The falling of debris and the percussion of frantically escaping feet served as a desperate applause. The curtains dropped as I bowed out.
I am now going to read you a poem entitled Paradise Misplaced from my first collection of verse, The Blind Muse of Greenbridge, currently unpublished. This poem concerns a young man who I used to know, and my thoughts and feelings surrounding his sudden disappearance over 4 months ago today. Please note, I will be taking pauses for emphasis, so please do not clap if there is a pause, as you will spoil the flow of my art. You may clap when I say you may clap. I forgot my sister's birthday, but I can't forget you. And how thou hast torn my frail heart into two. God could not have passed me down such a torture, and hell's hot fires could never be such a scorcher. You took off from me without any warning, so I composed this verse of unparalleled mourning. Without thee, I boiled in broth of sorrowful dreams, with anger and hate in the tomato of creams, salt in my wounds and holes in my eyes where beef stalked tears age and wither and despise. Chopping onions of uncertainty, when the knife slips and cuts, pouring blood, draining passion and lust. Yet, for thee, my blood sweetens the soup of despair, for I'll only stop bleeding when you come back. I recall well the eve on which we first met, and that feeling I had, oh, I'll never forget. Cupid never shot an arrow so sharp as he plucked out the music of thine voice like a harp. And to this day, I will never know how any goatee on earth could compare to thou. 15 years my junior, yet our love groweth great, brought there together by the warm hug of fate. Our love soon shone forth without any defect. Our moments together were, oh, so perfect. With you, I was wet with joy, like a seal. And could have swum clean through any ordeal. So, netted by you, I picked up my quill and attempted to paint you in words that would thrill. I wrote of your beauty, of your princely delights, and of the pleasure you gave me on those hot summer nights. Of my stallion, my Lancelot, my albino Adonis. Yet, oh, how you went like a steam train. That's your fairy tale goddess. Oh! I sat you down one night to read you my book of all the verse from your aura, which I took. A few hours later, I could perfectly see how shocked you were by my dexterity. I could tell from your tears how moved you were then. You said you never need hear my poetry again. Oh, you! You who tried to spare me such labor. Yet it was all you, my dear. My muse, my savior. And now, your absence wells up at me. Like a dog. Terrorizing me. Oppressing its timid. Licked by despair and flagellated by pain, I sang out for you again and again. I found your address and I posted my verse, yet your lack of response only made things seem worse. Romance! Ha! No thanks, I am done. I am Medea now to your puny Jason. I've slaughtered all my children! My fine written books. Love, worthy of Venus, which thou hast forsook. And now love is just a word on a plate, served up for me to interrogate. The hollow mockingbird, and the violent V, book-ended with indifference to the L and the E. But you wrote it out clearly. No matter how hard I try, I just can't spell out love. With you, die.
Deep affection or severe attachment. If not abstract, then perhaps something more material. Fairy tale chocolates and flowers, cheap wine and walks in the park. So cliche, I have trouble taking it all seriously. I see old couples around in public, and I think to myself, why should they be happy? If anything, I'm more likely to throw rocks at them than appreciate what they have. Can love be a longing for attachment? An end to a loneliness? I enjoy the companionship of cats and dogs. So what's that make me? Maybe it's the self-satisfaction of finding a partner on whom you can rely completely. Then again, people are stupid, conceited, and when left alone, quite smelly. Love is just a word. Are words empty without their context? Does the word love have some specific Boston cream filling that sets itself apart from its empty, literary brethren. Never was that good much. Not hungry. Why does love hold? Why are some afraid of it? Why do some hesitate in saying this? Why do some crave love? Like I crave cigarettes. Pursuit of the impossible. Can love be attained if we believe it to be something so ideal? Why does everyone seek perfection? It doesn't exist. If love is so, then surely it doesn't exist. That's an answer. Or so unrealistic. Some dream of breakfasts in Scotland with their beloved. I just dream of Scotch. What is love? Why does it have such power? Why is it such a big deal? Why am I so hung up on this question? Montgomery left me last week, didn't he? I really hate Scotch.
I've known this lovely couple, this happy couple, for a very long time now. Well, Jake anyway. Suffice to say, I have seen them through better and through worse. She's better and he's worse. This then makes me the perfect man to make the best man speech. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay. I'll try and make this as quick and painless as possible. Like pulling off a plaster, or waxing, a subject which Jake here knows only too much about. Grown back yet, mate? No? Pity. Before I begin, I want to thank John and Sheila for letting their stunning daughter marry my best friend, with no care for his enormous bank balance. And I also want to thank Bill and Daphne, Jake's parents, for having me to stay over every evening for over a decade. You are saints to a part with our wrestling matches, fist fights, melted toy soldiers, and dealing with Jake's pornography addiction. So, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, or what's left of it. Where was I? The bride and groom! The beautiful Sarah. If you ever need anything, I'm your man. So there's no getting rid of me that easily. Even in your hotel room, all the way out in Megaloof, I hope you'll be thinking of me. That sounds less creepy in my head. I promise. Oh, Sarah, do you remember that time when it was raining and it was dark and the sunroof wouldn't close? So we parked under that tree, moved to the back seat. You fell asleep on my shoulder. You were so tired, but Jake didn't want to leave the club. Did you, Jakey? What was her name that time? Amanda, wasn't it? No, it was Lauren that time. But that's all bridge under the water. Sorry, Sarah. Lovely, lovely Sarah, with the best taste in music out of all of you, Jake very much included. When I first met you, Sarah, I was more than impressed. Remember, I introduced you to my buddy here, because little did I know that 2 years later on, I'd be making your best man speech. But I'm not bitter or anything. I don't quite know how you've managed this one, Jakey. Let's be honest, you were a bit of a mess when I introduced you to her. All mopey over that one girl, Amy or something. How many girls ago was that? You're a creep. You're romantically inept little I'll start again. Idiot. Git. Cheater. Fool. Right. Jake, you have been my best friend for 20 years. Although we hated each other in nursery. Something to do with a green crayon, I think. Since then, you have firmly attached yourself to me like a leech. I have seen you in various states of sobriety and undress, not always in the order you'd assume. It is customary, I believe, to give the happy couple a couple of bits of advice. So here goes. Jake, you are one seriously lucky guy. Don't fuck it up. Just don't. You need to tell her every day how brilliant she is at everything. And everything. No exceptions. Sarah, although you can do so much better, I wish you all the best. May your honeymoon last forever and Jake not let you down. Though I do just have to say, Sarah Barry is nowhere near as interesting as Sarah Antoinez. But I'll just leave that there. So, ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses. This counts. To my oldest friend Jake and my newest friend Sarah. If she ever changes her mind, she knows where to find me. Wait, I'm sorry. I just have to ask. Sarah, why? I mean, I've known him a good few long years now. I've kept all these dirty little secrets, and I just don't get it. He's a prick. There's no nicer way of saying it, and believe me, I've tried. I know that old idiom, if you can't say anything nice, shut your pie up. Well, it's been shut a good few years now. Not even the tastiest of pies has passed through this barrier. But the thing is, now I'm really fucking hungry. And you are the sweetest of all the pies. Sarah, I know you've married him already, but we weren't allowed to drink during the service. And, oh, shut up, Jake! Piss off! You're going to embarrass yourself in front of all the lovely people. I'll see myself out. I said I'll see myself out. No, it's this way.
When you break up with someone that you really cared about, we all go through the same motions. The denial, the hysteria, the hatred, all of it. But eventually when you get to the acceptance part, the birds begin to sing again. You smile, and you don't expect to, and you find yourself generally carefree and not even thinking about the possibility. Yep, life is good. And then you see him. Shit. You didn't expect this to happen. You kind of forgot he even existed. So, in those first few moments before your paths inevitably cross, every possibility of what could happen goes through your head. I think everyone's first instinct is mostly the same. Hiding. If you're really going to go for this method, you have to be ridiculously quick. Otherwise you make like a complete and utter fool. You think about playing dumb and pretending you're having a normal conversation with him, like he's just a friend. But let's be honest here. Your brain's going a mile a minute. Nothing you say is going to make any sense. Hey! It's been so long, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, I've been great. I've been having the best life ever, and I've been thinking about you at all. Because you really didn't break my heart, and I didn't cry myself to sleep last night while trying to smell you on one of your t-shirts singing, "Baby, can I hold you tonight?" Not at all. Those are the thoughts that make you panic. The one where you come out of it looking like a complete idiot. But your brain's not all that. Instance. Oh, hey, how you doing? It's been so long. Looking great. Feel a bit mean about it? The thought's too good not to indulge in just a little bit. Your favourite fantasy by far is the rejection fantasy. It goes like this. You're walking down the street. You're looking good. You're doing great. And when you see him, you better scraps. Nice. He's seen you too. He can still look good and feeling great. And he comes up to you. I've made a horrible mistake! He says. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Please take me back. Save me from this black hole of despair and make my life wonderful and worth living again. And you look at him. Look at how desperate he seems. And proudly and defiantly, you tell him, "No!" The smile on your face is gigantic, and you raise your hands into the air in triumph, because you've just experienced the single greatest moment possible after any breakup. But as much as you're smiling, it's all still in your head. In reality you're still in the middle of the street and about to cross paths. You ask yourself, what do any of these possibilities even matter? Should we feel that scared? Should we feel that in need of revenge? Life's been great since your breakup. And in the grand scheme of things, you know. Hey. But walking away is the best thing you can ever do. And before any of all those fantasies do so further being played out, you find he decides for the best too.
Thank you very much for sharing with us that very entertaining view on Love's End. That being said, we must all now move on as we have come to the end of this afternoon's performance. I'd like to ask you to join me in a round of applause for our performers and writers. You can watch Exeter from Love by the Falmouth Cornwall translated himself, the question of hearing from the man's must focus on hey, Commonwealth got microphone and the story Lucy Army Christmas touching next to his craft one lodge. Chrissy Sims only sits, Stanley Alexander Harry, James Powell, Smith and Field, Wade Nicholson, the Three Sisters Love Girls Comedy, the show's from Michael Evans, Helen Anderson, and associate producer Anna Story with creative director Michael Foreman and Helen Anderson. You've been a wonderful audience. If all this talk of romance has led you to fall in love with us, we'll be happy for you to stop by again. Bring some friends, please spread the word, take some flyers. Tomorrow and the next day at the same time, 12:30 here in the Comedy Bus. Please do consider leaving your donation in the hat at the end to support our dedicated volunteer cast and crew. This has been a Free Festival Fringe, so thank you very much, goodbye.
Il se coquillise, ce sacré patapouf. Venu de la verrerie, toujours la vérité, et se marbre seul dans ses lignes biscuitées. Par terre, étendue, la girouette coule de girofle.